What up, YouTube? Here with a review for the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania 38. Now, I'm here to give y'all my thoughts on how I think the Raw and SmackDown following Mania 38 went. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get to it. As y'all know, the Raw after WrestleManias are one of the more memorable Raws out the whole year. Those are like, those Raws after WrestleManias are like, the special Raws, like one of the few special Raws out the year. It's basically to see what kind of momentum they'll be heading into. Like let's say once WrestleMania is over, like that's like a new season to the WWE, and the Raw after Mania is like the kickoff to how things are gonna go following WrestleMania. And for like the past few years, like the Raw after Mania has been lackluster. It's kind of lost its like special like feeling to it. Like like look at this week's Raw, for example, right? The Raw after Mania, it wasn't that memorable. Nothing special happened. Like how we're known to know the Raws after Mania to be. The SmackDowns after WrestleMania is like ever since like the brand split lost its meaning, and that was a long time ago. It ain't never been too special. Like the SmackDowns after Manias are like any other SmackDowns out the whole year. That being said, what happened that was special on the Raw after WrestleMania? We had Veer Mahan finally debut after all the vignettes that they put out there for months on months. And he made his debut, even though it's not really his like debut. He was on Raw before when he was running around with Jinder Mahal and Shanky, and then Jinder and Shanky got drafted to SmackDown, and now Veer's gonna go on his singles run. And all he didn't have an actual match. He made his debut after the Miz squashed Dominic Mysterio, then attacked the Mysterios as his debut. Like, okay, the Mysterios are a babyface. Rey Mysterio, obviously a legend. Dominic Mysterio, I mean, that's Rey's son, but the Mysterios are like the cliche baby faces, and I guess Veer's going to be a heel. Any foreigner that's got like a strong image to him or her usually happens to be a heel in the WWE, and I guess it's not going to be no different for Veer Mahan. Like, I know he's got the physique. I don't know if he's got the mic skills or like the charisma necessarily to be that top guy. That it factor shit, that shit is real. I think to be the top guy in any wrestling company, especially the WWE, whether y'all like it or not, the WWE is the biggest company when it comes to this industry. And you need the it factors to be at the pinnacle of this industry, and I don't know if Veer has that. I don't know, with the amount of vignettes that they put behind this guy, you would expect, some kind of hype to it, but it could be a flop. Like, I remember when WWE was given, a whole lot of vignettes for Emelina, aka Emma, to make her debut on Raw. It could go like that. Who knows though, right? But with all due respect, I just don't see, what I'm saying, like this guy like reaching the top level in the WWE, especially now with all the roster cuts, and now the titles are unified. Like this undisputed title, there's no brand split champions. The Universal title and the WWE Championship is held by the same man, and we know that's Roman Reigns. And moving along, what else happened on Raw? Elias made his return. Not Elias. Elias got like a whole character change. It's his younger bro, Ezekiel. Elias shaved off his beard instead of the rock star outfit. Dude's got an actual ring attire now, and then I guess he's got dementia or whatever. This is his whole gimmick. Oh, I don't know who you talking about. I ain't Elias. That's his whole gimmick. Like, he's playing like as if he's like, I don't know how they're gonna go with it. Like, I don't know. It might be funny. I thought the segment with him and Kevin Owens was funny, but it wasn't like a fucking hype moment. Like, because there's countless moments that happened with Raws after WrestleMania and this doesn't, belong in that category. I'm looking forward to see what they're gonna do with this, rebrandishing of Elias, aka Ezekiel. But other than that, other than the segment being funny, like we don't know like how they're gonna go with this new character for Ezekiel. And then one other good thing that happened on Raw, which was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect MVP to betray Bobby Lashley to join alliances with Omos. I thought that was pretty cool. Omos obviously doesn't have the mic skills. His charisma, he's got the size. He's got the intimidating look, and he's got the right character for that intimidating gimmick that that the WWE's pushing. He's been booked very well. Him just storming through the competition. He finally took his first L at WrestleMania versus Bobby Lashley. I don't think there's no other, legitimate guy to snap Omos's undefeated streak than Bobby Lashley for now speaking, because Omos is in the mid cards, upper mid cards. But, Bobby Lashley, somebody who's never lost a WWE title, snapping Omos's undefeated streak at the grandest stage of them all. I thought it couldn't have been, better booked than that. It wasn't like, he lost to, some nobody at like an episode of Raw or some other, throwaway pay-per-views. So, Omos still has some prestige under his name. And now with MVP being his manager, I think, that's it's only up for Omos from here. MVP, as y'all know, he could cut promos, he could talk. And, with Omos not being able to cut promos like that, with MVP being by his side, this could, catapult Omos to the next level. As far as, if he's going to catapult to like a Bobby Lashley status, once Bobby Lashley joined forces with MVP, I don't know if he's going to reach that level. He probably might because, how he's been booked. And, yeah, they just got to push him the same way they've been pushing him, and I think, sky's the limit for Omos. And I think, they not doing nothing with, the former members of the Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, both workhorses in the company right now. And I think, they should bring that whole group back. Yeah, since they're not doing nothing with them two. And I don't know why they split them up in the first place, because I think they were one of the more stronger groups in the WWE. They were like the bloodline of Raw, back last year. But, they dropped the ball with that. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny because Bobby Lashley is somebody who never lost his title. He never got pinned or tapped out for his WWE title, but he said fuck that, he's gonna get his WrestleMania moment with Omos, which he did, which I thought was cool. And this was a good way to transition Bobby Lashley from a heel to a baby face. And then MVP being a manager, he plays a better heel than a baby face, and for him to be there to talk for Omos and manage him, I think this is the right move. Because Bobby Lashley, he kind of had the same problem as Omos. I think he cuts better promos than Omos, but Lashley can't cut promos like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why they paired him with MVP, and they doing the same thing with Omos. And hopefully they got the same plans for Omos when they hook Bobby Lashley up with MVP. They have that same plan for Omos. Once they pair him with MVP, they have him up to a level where if he's not going to be world champion, because it's going to be more difficult because there's no two major world titles anymore, at least a legit challenger for the undisputed title. I think so. You know what I'm saying? I think with him being booked right, with MVP by his side, I think that could be a go. Anyways, what other cool thing happened on Raw? I mean, Roman Reigns, he's on the top of his game right now. Him and the Bloodline, alongside with Paul Heyman as a councilman. I think they the best thing going in pro wrestling right now. They never, I'm saying, disappoint. They're the best part of this whole business right now. So, and after Roman Reigns successfully became the undisputed champion at WrestleMania 38, him being in God mode, him letting the WWE Universe know, like, this is yours for real. He done took Raw's world title. He's not only the Universe champion, all that. And the Usos, they retained their SmackDown tag team titles as well. And then on SmackDown, that happened like a few hours back. He let the fans know on both Raw and SmackDown, like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? He been running shit, but now it's, stamped that he's running shit. And the Usos are gonna be going for the Raw tag team titles. As y'all know, they had a 6-man tag team match on Raw before SmackDown. They teamed up with Austin Theory versus RK Bro and Finn Balor, which they were successful. Their team, the Usos and Austin Theory, were successful at winning that match. They're going to be trying to unify the tag team titles. So that goes to show you the brand split, like, that shit about to be over with. They already unified both the major titles on each show. They're going to do that with the tag team titles as well. So you say goodbye to the brand split now. I think, putting all the titles moving forward after WrestleMania on the bloodline, I think that's the move to make following WrestleMania. Have them dominate the scene following WrestleMania. And then I don't know if Shinsuke Nakamura is gonna be feuding with Roman Reigns for a little bit, or they just had him out there to take a bump as, like, giving him the jobber treatment. That's why he went out there to only get a hug from Roman Reigns and get super kicked by the Usos. As y'all know, Rick Boogs, his guitarist and tag team partner, all kayfabe aside, he actually hurt his quad trying to pull off a stunt where he carried both the Usos on his shoulder, but they collapsed on him, hence how he injured his quad. He's, actually injured. He's in rehab right now, speedy recovery. So that man, well wishes, get better, and all that good stuff. Shinsuke, I don't know if he's going for some kind of revenge for his homie, but if they just had him out there to take that bump to, I don't know if WWE is going to have Shinsuke Nakamura challenge Roman Reigns for the undisputed title, although those two will pull off an incredible match because Shinsuke can go and Roman can go as well. So those two could pull off a bar burner for sure. But I don't know if the WWE is going to push for that feud to headline the pay-per-view, even though they could, especially if booked right. But knowing WWE, I have a feeling, that could be just another match on the Raw or SmackDown. Hopefully they, push that for the next feud. I think that would be a good match. Shinsuke versus Roman Reigns, but we'll just see though. Cody Rhodes, he made his return to Monday Night Raw, cut a good thrilling promo. He was good on the mic. He could go in the ring. He pulled off one of the best matchups on the whole WrestleMania card with him and Seth Rollins. He let the WWE fans know what he's after, and that's the WWE title. Nobody in the Rhodes family, the illustrious, legendary Rhodes family, nobody was able to pull off that brass ring, the WWE title, and that's what he's after. And then Seth Rollins came out, instead of doing the heelish move, he shook his hand. He offered that hand to him and shook his hand like, yo, we had a good match at WrestleMania and I respect you. That's basically what Seth Rollins said to Cody Rhodes. I'm wondering how they're gonna go along with this program with Rhodes and Rollins. And yeah, what else happened on Raw that was memorable? Nothing really, other than Braun Breaker. He retained his NXT, or not retained, regained the NXT World Title, defeating Dolph Ziggler on Raw. I don't know why they couldn't do that on Stand and Deliver if they were gonna do that on Raw, but I guess to make some moments happen for the Raw after WrestleMania, I guess, right? But yeah, that happened, and Oh, the Street Profits defeated Alpha Academy. There was a cool spot in the match. You had Montez Ford. He's got some hops, and he hit a cool spot in the move where he dove off the top rope, frog splash through the table. That was a cool spot. But other than that, like, I don't know what direction they're gonna have two of the one of, like, I would say two of the, they're not the best tag teams. Obviously, those titles belong to the Usos and RK Bros, but right under them is the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. I don't know what direction they're gonna have them going in. And then what else happened? Oh yeah, Ronda Rousey, who took a L to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, and you know, it was a weird finish, but you know, she made Charlotte tap out while the referee was out. So you know, there's some controversy in that. I guess they're gonna continue their feud all the way to Backlash. Ronda Rousey called her out to a I Quit match, and Charlotte denied that offer, and then you know, that's what Ronda's campaigning for. That would be a good match. I would like to see that, because these two can go in the ring for sure. And I think, you know, a submission-based match, like an I Quit match between the two, I think they could put on a good match with that. You know, and their promo was what I expected. Those two, especially Charlotte, I think she talks better than Ronda when it comes to the mic skills. And yeah, I think the feud continuing is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I know they got some criticism for their WrestleMania match, but I think, you know, they're gonna make up for that at the next event. And I think an I Quit match would be very entertaining between the two women. And what else happened on SmackDown? I don't know if they're gonna push for Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, but then, you know, they're supposed to have another match on the next episode, next week SmackDown. Sami Zayn just walked out the match, didn't get no offense, but I don't know if that's the next feud that the WWE is pushing for, but we'll see. And then Jinder Mahal is going to be challenging Ricochet, both guys who weren't on the two-day WrestleMania card. Jinder Mahal, former WWE champion, and then after he lost that title, he kind of went back to being irrelevant, but right now, the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title, both mid-card titles, the staple mid-card titles for the company, wasn't featured on the biggest stage of them all at WrestleMania. Well, the Intercontinental title is going to be on the line. Ricochet, who's the Intercontinental champion, is going to be defending that belt against Jinder Mahal. Mind you, he defended that in a triple threat against Angel Garza and Humberto. Is it Carrillo? I don't like, correct me if I pronounce his name wrong, but in a triple threat on the WrestleMania before, on the SmackDown show before WrestleMania. But the Intercontinental title hasn't been on pay-per-view since WrestleMania 37, so it's kind of lost its relevancy. And I don't know if you know, you have two guys who wasn't featured on the biggest show fighting for the title. It's just like, whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? They got to put some relevancy back into the mid-card scene, especially if it's going to be for the title. Like, it looks like Finn Balor is going to be, you know, just a transitional champion. He's just looking like he's going to give that belt up to Austin Theory, which isn't bad, because Austin Theory, that's called investing in your future, because I see potential in Austin Theory for real. I thought he should have won the match at WrestleMania. You know, I made a whole review on WrestleMania 38. Y'all can go check that out. It's on my channel somewhere. But yeah, I thought Austin Theory should have won that match against Pat McAfee. What was the point of having Mr. McMahon have a match with Austin Theory? What, for a WrestleMania moment? Vince McMahon has had plenty of WrestleMania moments. You could have still had Mr. McMahon involved in that match by doing an angle where Mr. McMahon interferes in that match and distracts Pat McAfee, and then Austin Theory picks up the win. Like, you know, you have Austin Theory who lost to Pat McAfee, which isn't a bad thing at all, because Pat McAfee could go and talk and all that. Like, but he's still a color commentator on SmackDown. Like, it just makes the U.S. title look so much weaker with Austin Theory, who lost to Pat McAfee. You know, it just makes a title look, it makes the title lose its legitimacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have Austin Theory, who lost to Finn Balor via distraction from Pat McAfee a few weeks back before Mania, right? Then I think Austin Theory buried the Intercontinental Champion Ricochet on Raw in like a squash match, and Ricochet didn't even get an entrance. He got the jobber treatment. And that's your Intercontinental Champion. That was on the show Raw before WrestleMania. Then you have, I think Austin Theory beat Finn Balor like when Finn Balor made his like return to Monday Night Raw like a few months back, like. So it's already like pretty much written that Austin Theory is gonna take the U.S. title off of Finn Balor. He was just a transitional champion. That was his whole purpose of why he won the U.S. title. But hopefully, with Austin Theory being the U.S. champion, which he will be sometime soon, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like it kind of like the U.S. title hasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been more relevant than the Intercontinental title. I give it that. Even when Damien Priest was the U.S. champion, it been like, you know, a little more relevant than the Intercontinental title. But like Austin Theory was coming off of L versus Pat McAfee, fair and square at WrestleMania, is going to be the new U.S. champion by defeating Finn Balor, who wasn't even featured at the WrestleMania this past weekend. Like, it's not a good look for the U.S. title, but hopefully, you know, they start making the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title after WrestleMania a little more relevant. I don't think, you know, the WWE is going to have those two titles featured as much as I'd like to be. But come on, these two are titles. Like, it shouldn't, like, championship shouldn't be there if it's not going to hold any meaning to it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, I know, like, change is, you know, inevitable when it comes to, you know, things progressing, but I think it's the opposite of progression when the titles lose its meaning. Anyways, moving along though, what other things that happened that were some highlights for the shows after WrestleMania? Oh yeah, Madcap Moss, who was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Other than, you know, them paying homage and respect to Andre the Giant, that Battle Royal, ever since like the first year, it was like you know, it kind of lost its like prestige. Other than it being it being the Andre the Giant Memorial, like, you know, the winner of that Battle Royal. I don't even know other than the Big Show, but the Big Show was already, you know, world champion before that. Like, who won the world titles like after they won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Like Madcap Moss, I think before that his name was Riddick Moss. He was battling for the 24/7 title before he became Madcap Moss. And ever since he became Madcap and, you know, aligned himself with Happy Corbin, his whole gimmick was a comedian gimmick where he was hired by Happy Corbin after he hit the jackpot to tell Happy Corbin jokes. His whole job, his whole gimmick was to make Happy Corbin laugh. That's why he's been on the main roster. And they had him winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I guess, to set this feud up because they had him turn face. You kind of saw that coming if y'all saw WrestleMania 38. He distracted Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania 38, which caused Happy Corbin to lose, snapping his undefeated streak. And yeah, I guess this is a way to push Madcap Moss. You know, he's got the physique. You know, he seemed over with the crowd. It wasn't the, you know, same Dallas crowd after WrestleMania 38. They had SmackDown in Milwaukee, but it looked like the crowd was on Madcap's side. You know, he's not a unlikable character. You know, everybody likes a funny guy as long as, you know, his jokes is hitting, I guess. But yeah, I guess it's trying to push Madcap Moss. You know, Happy Corbin is one of the, you know, better heels, one of the workhorses in the company right now. You know, I've been like this work since his Baron Corbin days. I thought they dropped the ball with him. He had the Money in the Bank one under his name, but then he never successfully cashed that in. And Madcap Moss being the latest Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. Um, I don't know if they're gonna, give him a serious character, cause I don't see him going to the pinnacle spot as one of the top baby faces of the company with that same character. Like, what y'all gonna have him tell jokes every week? Give the fans a 1-2 laugh, and that's supposed to push him over to the top. Him beating Happy Corbin, who's had a long successful run being undefeated, who's I thought all he's had a lot of character changes and a lot of development. He always reinvents himself, and that's part of this business. To stay successful in this business, like, you always got to reinvent yourself. Like, you learned that with one of the best, like, guys like Chris Jericho. You look at Roman Reigns. You look at Cody Rhodes. You look at a lot of these successful top guys in the industry. They always have character development, and they always stay reinventing themselves. And Baron Corbin's one of those guys who's been doing that. And Madcap Moss going over a guy like Baron Corbin, it would catapult his status higher. And, that could go under his resume along with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. But he needs a character change for him to get pushed to the top. What else happened? Other key highlights. Oh, Rhea Ripley on Raw. Her and Liv Morgan had a tag team match versus the brand new women's tag team champions, Naomi and Sasha Banks, which Naomi and Sasha Banks won that match. And then following the match, Rhea Ripley walked out on Liv Morgan, kind of, hinting Rhea Ripley is going to turn heel. And then on SmackDown, Liv Morgan defeated Sasha Banks. Naomi was out there doing commentary while her partner Sasha was having a one-on-one match with Liv Morgan. But guess who wasn't there ringside with Liv Morgan? Her partner, Rhea Ripley. But then, like, backstage, after Rhea walked out on Liv, Rhea let it be known, she had got caught up with her emotions, and she regrets walking out on Liv. And then next week on Raw, they're gonna be challenging Naomi and Sasha for their tag team titles. And that leads me right into Damien Priest joining Edge's new group. I don't know what their names is gonna be. Edge has got this new, darker, more serious gimmick. Kind of like the Brood, but a little more. That Brood shit wasn't cool to me. I thought that shit was corny. I know a lot of Attitude Era fans are gonna be like, what is this guy talking about? But I thought that Brood shit, that whole vampire gimmick, was corny. But I think this is more legit. And then Damien Priest, he did his thing on NXT. Had a good match at WrestleMania last year, and was the latest U.S. champion, and he had a good run with that. Him being under Edge's tutorage, his mentorship, being in his group, I think that already calls for a good tag team right there. I would love to see the RK Bros feud with Priest and Edge. And I don't know. I think the Usos should take the tag team titles, but I think that feud right there, RK Bro versus Edge and Priest, I think that would be a great feud, a very entertaining feud. You got, Randy Orton and Edge, rated RKO, who used to be tag team champions as well, with Matt Riddle and Damian Priest on their side, and they're like the two new guys in the WWE right now, and they're Edge and Randy Orton are on different sides this time, representing two different teams. I think that would be a cool feud, and they had a spot where they took out AJ Styles, and I'm wondering how they're gonna go as a group, Edge and Damian Priest. And it's rumored that Rhea Ripley, she's got the looks to join that group. She's rumored to join their group, and we'll see. And we'll see next week on Raw if Rhea Ripley is gonna turn on Liv Morgan, which would lead her to becoming a heel. And I think that could line her up to join that group. And I don't think that would be a bad look. Edge being a Hall of Famer, a multi-time WWE champion, has won basically all the titles that you could win in the WWE. I think him taking like the mentor kind of role, leading a group, I think that would be the right fitting move for Edge. But we'll see though if Rhea Ripley is gonna join that group like she's rumored to. She's already well over enough to go on her own to be successful. But that could be a good look on Rhea, and it might help her further herself in the WWE. And any other thing I'm missing that happened? Oh, speaking of future talent, Rhea Ripley, because she's she's already won a women's world title, but she's definitely going to be one of the future stars on top of the WWE, and she's already there in the upper mid card level in the women's division, but she's definitely going to be one of the future stars holding it down for the WWE. Then, speaking of the future, we had Gunther, the longest running NXT UK champion, make his debut on SmackDown tonight. He didn't have Fabian Archer by his side. He had, what's his name? Ludwig Kaiser. As y'all know, if y'all watch NXT this past Tuesday, Ludwig Kaiser walked out on his tag team partner Fabian Archer. So Gunther, aka Walter, because WWE love changing their superstars' names for whatever reason. Only Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser got the call up to the main roster. Fabian Archer, I don't know what they gonna do with him. I don't know if they gonna have him going on a singles run on NXT, but I thought the Imperium was a good 3-man group. I think Gunther could go on a singles run while they had Fabian Archer and Ludwig Kaiser as a tag team. But I don't know. I guess WWE doesn't have faith in the longest running NXT UK champion to go on a singles run. I think he could bring legitimacy to one of the mid-card titles, the Intercontinental title. But I don't know. I guess they're going to have Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser run as a tag team. But the ring general, he's made his debut to the main roster. Guy that got called up from NXT. And then speaking of NXT, a girl from NXT who's been there for a long time putting in work. Raquel Rodriguez. I think her name was Raquel Gonzalez, but WWE decided to give her a different last name when she got the call up. She made her debut on SmackDown as well. She had a backstage interview, a segment with Los Lotharios. They tried to mac on her and, holler at her, where she turned them down. And that was it. But, she got the call up to the main roster. Guess she's going to be featured on SmackDown. And then you also had Lacey Evans. I think she was out because she was pregnant, but I guess she's ready to return. She had cut a vignette promo teasing her return. She's going to play the babyface character role now. She soon make her in-ring return. And then Butch, a.k.a. Pete Dunne, another stable guy from NXT. He made his in-ring debut on SmackDown, which he lost. He lost his debut match against Xavier Woods. He lost via a roll-up. He had, a good slot on the show where he was able to, perform. But, he didn't get that W. I guess, they're going to have him as this dog, that's on the leash by Sheamus and Ridge Holland right now, kind of character, that spark plug character that they got him playing. From the day that he debuted with that name, Butch, on SmackDown as Ridge Holland and Sheamus's guy, I knew he wasn't going to get far in the WWE's main roster, because he was one of the well over guys on NXT UK once They made the announcement they're gonna have like NXT in England, and then he went over to the NXT in America. Then he was doing this thing over there. Then he got the call up to the main roster to be on the side of Sheamus and Ridge Holland. And Ridge Holland is like Sheamus's like protege, and Butch is like their protege. And he got a split. Like Pete Dunne, aka Butch, he got a split from Sheamus and Holland to like go on a successful run. If y'all gonna have, if the WWE is gonna have Pete Dunne, aka Butch, you know, in any trio, it should be with him and Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, aka British Strong Style. I think that's the trio to have him in. To have, you know, he's already legit, but how legit can you be when you lose your debut match? Like, the WWE is showing that they're not going, you know, push him. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I want to be optimistic, but I'm calling it like how I see it. Like, the way they have him, like, it's a cool character, you know, he's like this out of control dog, but he, you know, like, he's losing his debut match. Like, he had like a little moment where he spazzed and popped on Ridge Holland, and Sheamus and Ridge had to calm his ass down from, you know, fighting his friends and shit. Like, I just don't know what direction they're heading with Butch, and he's one of the better workers in their company right now. Well, yeah, I don't think I'm missing any other key points or key moments that happened on the following shows after WrestleMania. I don't know what direction they're going to head in. I said at the WrestleMania 38 review, WrestleMania 38 was a entertaining show. It was a fun show. It was enjoyable. But I have questions when it comes to WWE's future, because it's like, okay, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, like I said, they the best thing going in pro wrestling. I don't give a fuck. AEW fans, ROH fans, New Japan fans, whatever, the smart community, the IWC, whatever. They could say, oh, WWE's crap. Yeah, the WWE has lost its like edginess, its coolness over, like, you know, the last, you know, they been lost their edge like after like 05, in my opinion. But, you know, like, the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, undeniably, nobody could get in my ears about them being the best thing going in pro wrestling, period. Like, nobody could dispute that with me. Like, they the best thing going in the whole industry right now. Other than that, they don't really have any other programs that's worth watching. Like, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, like, Cody Rhodes was the mystery hand-picked opponent by Vince McMahon for Seth Rollins. That was it. I guess they're going to continue that feud. I don't know if Seth Rollins is going to turn babyface. He's got this, like, mystique character that he took on after being the Messiah. And who knows if they're going to have Seth Rollins become babyface, or this is just a part of his, like, you know, gimmick where, you know, it's unpredictable. He's shaking Cody Rhodes' hand, and then the next week he's gonna attack Cody Rhodes. Like, I don't know what direction they're gonna head with that feud, but I think Cody Rhodes is the next guy in line to, you know, legitimately have a chance to take the undisputed title from Roman Reigns. He's that over with the crowd, and they actually got him playing himself. He's not Stardust. He's not what was that, dashing Cody Rhodes. He's not the undashing Cody Rhodes. He's the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. So, you know, he's that next legit challenger. Him or Drew McIntyre, I say, is the next legit challenger to actually hold potential to take those two titles, the undisputed titles, off of Roman Reigns. Bobby Lashley is legit, but I don't see him, especially with MVP not being by his side. I don't see Bobby Lashley being a legitimate threat to take the undisputed titles from Roman Reigns. Those two guys are it. Drew McIntyre, if booked right, and Cody Rhodes right now. And Seth Rollins, he beat Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, but never got his rematch, much like when Finn Balor had that off finish versus Roman Reigns. Those two guys never got their rematch, and Bobby Lashley seems to have forgotten about him never losing the WWE title. That's the funny style booking of the WWE, though. And then I don't know, like I said, Hopefully, Austin Theory is going to bring that legitimacy back to the U.S. title once he takes a title off of Finn Balor, which, like I say, he's going to do. It looks like, that's the direction they're heading in with the U.S. title. But I already covered, touch bases on that topic right there. Then the Intercontinental title, I don't know what they're going to do with that. I had high hopes when Ricochet beat Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title, but they didn't have him on WrestleMania. They gave him the jobber treatment before WrestleMania. And I don't know, hopefully, Gunther or somebody else could legitimize the Intercontinental title or give Ricochet the right push. But I think with how they've been booking Ricochet so far, I think he's there to play that same role as Finn Balor, just a transitional champion. And those two guys, Ricochet and both Finn Balor, those two guys are being misutilized. I think they could, be legit guys, especially in the upper mid-card division, to hold that part of the WWE down. Like, those two guys can both go. I know Vince likes bigger athletes, but these two guys are workhorses. They could put on incredible matches. And with that being said, they're just not being booked right. And it's a shame. It's a shame. And like I said, those two guys could, have legitimacy. And there's plenty of room on both shows. Raw is 3 hours. It just not booked well. That's all I could say. Then hopefully Gunther. But I think with the WWE, how they been going, I think they're just gonna have him as a tag team with Ludwig Kaiser and Butch. Hopefully, they have him splitting from Sheamus and Holland, and then they could maybe call up Mustache Mountain, aka Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, and then they could build a trio out of those guys, and then what's his name? The tag team division, the competition will get steeper once the tag titles get unified. That's that calls for deeper competition, because ever since the roster cuts, the WWE doesn't have enough talent to where they could have both shows run their own programs. I think that brand split shit, they don't have enough talent for that right now, at least. And then I don't know how they're gonna, only time will tell how they're gonna push Raquel Rodriguez along with Gunther. And like I said, the future of the WWE is what's in question, because it was WrestleMania 38 was a fun show, but it revealed how much talent and how much more bad the booking got. They booked the WrestleMania show well with all the talent that they featured on there, but we talking like wrestling wise, and them actually investing into their homegrown product and not relying on outsiders so much. Like, I know celebrities are a part of the show, legends are a part of the show, and they've been a part of the show ever since WrestleMania was established. But I covered this on my WrestleMania 38 review, and it's that you have what do you call it, like Stone Cold Steve Austin show up on both days. You could have had both the Intercontinental title and U.S. title featured on the show. Stone Cold, I know, and this, you can't disrespect Stone Cold Steve Austin when it comes to the pro wrestling, sports, entertainment industry, period. All the slot that he got for, all the time slot he got for WrestleMania 38, well deserved. It was cool, memorable moments. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, entertaining, funny ass match. Then you had Logan Paul. He pulled off an incredible match. He performed at WrestleMania 38. All the celebrities did their thing, but then it goes to show you they don't take their mid-card title seriously. The Shinsuke Rick Boogs as a tag team to challenge for the tag team titles was and then you had the New Day's job out in less than a minute versus Holland and Sheamus. It was like, like what they do with their actual talent who's on the road with them full time, like they don't feature them well in the spotlight, is what I'm saying. That is what has me worrying about their future. They have enough talent to, you know, run a good program all year around, but they're just not being utilized and not being booked well all year around when they have enough talent. They just gotta, you know, figure that part out and how to feature all these talent the right way, like to get them over with the crowd. And yeah, it's hard to please everybody. It's impossible to please everybody. But to get, like, to, you know, especially within the IWC smart community, they the hardest critics to please. But, you know, to get majority of the peoples, you know, to tap in to y'all show and actually legitimately tap in to the product, is to actually invest into your full-time talent and have them featured and booked the right way. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at the golden days, the Attitude Era, even the Ruthless Aggression Era, they all used their full-time talent and had them featured in on the card for all their pay-per-views. They're not doing that anymore. You get what I'm saying? And I think, you know, that hurts them long-term wise. But, you know, there were some splashes. The Raws after WrestleMania kind of lost its, you know, edge and its, you know, and its special feeling that it always had in the past few years. But there were some still, you know, splashes after WrestleMania. It wasn't as impactful as the previous Raws after WrestleMania, but, you know, hopefully, you know, they made good out of the few splashes that they made for the following shows after WrestleMania 38. Anyways, y'all let me know how y'all want things to go with the WWE going on to their next season. You know, WrestleMania 38 is done and wrapped up. Now we'll see how the WWE, what direction they're gonna go moving on from WrestleMania this year, and how they're gonna, you know, go in for you know, from here on. Y'all let me know what y'all want to see, what y'all thoughts are in the comments. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And NXT 2.0. They got some few good homegrown talent over there. I see some potential in Braun Breaker and few guys that are over there on NXT 2.0. Hopefully, when they get the call up, you know, they develop their character and all their skills at NXT before they get their call up, and they get pushed the right way. Anyways, that does it for this video. I'm finna head out. Y'all leave y'all comments, subscribe, share, all that good stuff like I said. And yeah, y'all stay safe, stay healthy, and I'm out. Peace.